All right, let's jump right in. Welcome to today's Explainer. So we're looking at a phenomenon right now that is moving so fast it is literally rewriting digital culture in 2026. We're talking about this hyper-accelerated, totally viral language that has just completely taken over AI forums, tech Discord servers, and developer spaces. Gen Z isn't just hanging out on the internet anymore, they are fundamentally rebuilding its vocabulary from the ground up. And honestly, if you don't know the words, you are definitely missing the real conversation.
Take a listen to this. Another 404 coded asking if ChatGPT can hack their ex's Instagram. We need an FAQ bot for fur. Okay, just let that sink in for a second. This isn't just random passing internet chatter, right? As our source material points out, this slang is acting as a very deliberate gatekeeping mechanism. It's essentially the new API for human interaction in these spaces. If you don't understand the output, you aren't in the club. And the truth is, that's exactly how they want it.
So, here's the million-dollar question. Do you need a translator? Well, if you're a tech pro, a marketer, a community manager, or really just anyone from an older generation trying to navigate these spaces without feeling totally lost, yeah, you probably do. Think of this explainer as your ultimate Rosetta Stone. We're going to decode the exact phrases the internet's loudest generation is using right now so you don't get left behind.
To really get it, we kind of have to trace how we got here. Back in that 2010 to 2015 foundation era, slang moved at what you could call text speed. Simple millennial acronyms like LOL or BRB. But then, around 2016, the meme acceleration hit, pushing slang to video speed with TikTok and words like yeet. Then, from 2021 to 2024, we saw the absurdist wave bring us terms like brain rot and aura, which brings us right to today, the 2025-2026 AI forum merge. This is where the wild language of absurdist internet culture and highly technical AI spaces have just completely fused into one.
All right, let's move into Section 1, Decoding the 2026 Lexicon.
First up on our flashcards is skibidi. Now, you might actually know this one from that viral, totally absurdist YouTube toilet series, but over in AI forums, it's completely evolved. It brilliantly describes an AI model or a specific output that makes absolutely no sense, yet somehow showcases this unmatched creativity. So if a dev says, man, that GPT-7 output was pure skibidi, they mean it was completely absurd, but weirdly, kind of impressive.
Next up, we have 404 coded. Born from the standard HTTP error that we all know, but mashed up with a Gen Z remix, this is the modern, fairly ruthless equivalent of telling someone to just go read the manual. It perfectly describes a person asking a super basic question they could have solved by just looking at the docs, or, someone who completely dismisses complex AI as just fancy Excel.
Oh, this next one is absolutely fascinating, choppelganger. It's this clever mashup of chopped, which slang-wise means unflattering, and doppelganger. Over in the AI art and form space, this describes perfectly when an AI model spits out an output that is technically accurate, but stylistically just awful. Imagine asking for a photorealistic Mona Lisa and getting this super unflattering, creepy wax figure lookalike. That right there is a choppelganger.
Okay, then we have mewing. Originally, this was just this weird orthodontic meme about pressing your tongue to the roof of your mouth to get a sharper jawline. But in AI forums, it has a totally different vibe. It describes that deafening, super awkward silence that drops over a chat when someone brings up a really heavy hot take about AI ethics, like Rocco's Basilisk, for example, and absolutely nobody in the chat wants to touch the argument. Everyone just stays dead silent. They're mewing.
Let's move over to aura farming, which really builds heavily on developer culture. This term directly calls out those GitHub repositories that might have, say, 2,000 stars, look incredibly aesthetic, and feature a README file just packed with emojis. But when you look under the hood, zero tests, zero real substance. They are deliberately curating a vibe to build up social capital without actually doing the hard work.
The sheer code switching required to navigate this is honestly mind-blowing. Let's look at some literal translations. Take the phrase, "that ate and left no crumbs." Literally translated, that just means someone consumed their food completely. But what they actually mean? It was executed perfectly with absolutely no room for improvement. Or take, "let them cook." Literally, allow them to prepare food. Actually, trust their process, back off, and do not interfere. The contrast just highlights how totally impenetrable this language is if you're taking it at face value.
Moving right along to Section 2, the forum ecosystem.
Because here's the thing. This language isn't just one giant monolithic dictionary. It mutates depending on exactly where you're lurking online. Like, if you're hanging out on Reddit, the vibe is super technical but highly ironic. You'll see terms like cooked or cap.
Jump over to Discord, and it's hyper-casual, super meme-heavy. That's where Skibidi and Slay really thrive. Over on X, it's all about hot takes, calling people delulu, or watching someone crash out. 4chan remains super cynical, constantly dealing in brain rot. And GitHub issues, they've developed this really specific, sarcastic, but oddly helpful vibe, throwing around terms like bet and pressed. It is entirely contextual.
Slang is the new GitHub stars. I've got to say, this quote completely blew my mind when I was reviewing the source text. It just perfectly captures this new meme economy. Dropping a perfectly timed slang reference actually commands way more respect and social currency in these AI forums than having flawless grammar or just dropping a link to a dry research paper. It proves you are culturally native to the space.
So, I know what you might be thinking right about now. Why should I care? I'm a serious tech professional. I really don't need to know what Skibidi means. Well, stick with me here because I need to pivot for a second. This isn't just some fun, quirky internet anthropology. This is an absolute, urgent wake-up call for your business.
Think about it. If your product's onboarding language feels ancient, you're going to lose users. If your community managers can't quickly spot AI-generated brain rot, your forums are just going to get completely overrun with spam. In marketing, AI-generated corporate speak gets absolutely roasted right now. You need prompts that actually understand this slang. In recruiting, if you write your job postings in boomer English, they're going to get completely ignored by top Gen Z talent. And in UX research, if a user casually calls your product mid, you really need to know that is not a compliment. You are fundamentally failing to connect if you ignore this shift.
Which brings us to our final part, Section 3, the future of AI slang, 2027 and beyond. So here is the roadmap of where this is all heading next. First up, we're literally going to see AI-generated slang emerge, as in LLMs will invent their own native slang that humans will actually start adopting. Crazy, right? Second, expect much faster cross-platform pollution. Terms are going to leak from super niche apps to the mainstream practically overnight. Third, rapid corporate co-option. Brands will inevitably try to use Skibidi in a tweet, and Gen Z will instantly abandon the word. But step 4, that's the real opportunity, reverse gatekeeping. Older tech workers who can actually master this code switching between corporate English and forum slang are going to gain massive, totally unexpected credibility. All of this leaves us with one really provocative question to think about. Will you literally need an AI bot just to translate the internet for you next year? Language is evolving way faster than any dictionary can track, and the lines between internet culture and tech have been completely erased at this point. The challenge is pretty clear. We either stay culturally literate and adapt to the slang, or we risk being perpetually 404 coded. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer today. I really hope it helps you stay plugged into the real conversation.